She walked in and froze. There were no lights on, no TV playing, no smell of dinner. Just silence. And then she saw it. The wedding ring I left on the kitchen table, next to the hotel receipt I found in her purse. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. She looked around like she expected me to jump out from behind the couch. I was gone. That's when it hit her. I wasn't bluffing. I wasn't going to beg. I left, just like she told me to. But let's rewind, because the way we got here, it all started the night she looked me dead in the eye and said, "If you're unhappy, the door's right there." So I walked through it. And what happened after? Well, let's just say, she didn't see any of it coming. She told me the words like they meant nothing, like they weren't about to burn our entire marriage to the ground. "If you're unhappy, the door's right there." That was her response when I brought up how she flirted with other guys like she was single again. It wasn't a scream. It wasn't a fight. She said it like she was bored, like I was the one being dramatic. She didn't even look up from her damn phone. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because in that moment, I realized who she really was. A woman who didn't care if I stayed or left. Because deep down, she probably thought I wouldn't have the balls to walk away. "Thanks for the reminder," I said, and I meant it, because that was the moment I made a decision. Not out of spite, out of clarity. You want to know what led to this? It didn't start with one fight. It started slowly in the details. Her locking her phone, getting dressed up on a random Tuesday night and saying it was just drinks with coworkers. She used to come home full of stories. Lately, she came home full of silence. I noticed how she stopped touching me. No quick kisses in the morning. No hands brushing against mine on the couch. Our bed? Cold. Like she'd already moved out. Mentally, emotionally. All of it. And I stayed. I convinced myself marriage was work. That this was a phase. But then came the Thursday night. We were standing in the kitchen. I asked her gently why she acted so differently. Why she laughed too hard at other guys' jokes. And why I always came second to her phone. She didn't deny anything. She just sipped her wine, smirked, and said it. "If you're unhappy, the door's right there." That phrase, it wasn't just dismissive. It was a green light. She didn't care if I stayed. She wanted to see if I had the guts to leave. So I gave her exactly what she asked for. I didn't storm out. I didn't shout. I walked into our bedroom, packed a small bag. Took my passport, my laptop, my guitar, the things that felt like me. I left my wedding ring right where she couldn't miss it, on the kitchen table, next to her favorite bottle of wine. Then I left. No note, no explanation, nothing. You want to know what happens when you stop begging for love? People panic. People break. She didn't expect me to disappear. She thought I'd sulk for a few days and crawl back with flowers and apologies. But when she came home and found the house dark, when she saw the ring, and that hotel receipt I had found in her purse, that's when it all began to unravel. I wasn't just gone. I had found out everything, and I wasn't playing nice anymore. The first message came an hour after she got home. "Where are you?" No emoji, no heart, just 3 dry words, like she'd lost her remote, not her husband. I didn't answer. The second one came 5 minutes later. "Did you go out?" Still pretending she didn't notice the missing suitcase. Still acting dumb. That was her game, always pretending. Jessica could lie with a straight face better than anyone I'd ever met. It was almost an art form to her. But this time she was unraveling. By the third message, her tone cracked. "Why did you take your stuff?" There it was. The panic. I left her on read. Let her sit in that cold, quiet house and finally feel what it's like when someone leaves you behind. By the time the 5th message came, "Is this about that hotel receipt?" I can explain. I actually laughed out loud. Explain? What was there to explain? I saw the receipt. Hilton downtown. Room 623. 2 guests. 1 night. On a Thursday, the same night she told me the door was right there. You'd have to be an idiot not to connect the dots. But Jessica wasn't worried about truth. She was worried about control. I gave her none. I stayed with my buddy Aaron that night. Crashed on his couch, told him everything. He didn't say, "I told you so," but he didn't have to. He never liked her. Said she had a look in her eye like she was always hunting for more. He was right. The next morning, my phone blew up. Missed calls, voicemails, texts. Her voice in one message cracked and desperate. "Please, I swear, it's not what you think. It was for a friend." I let her use my name because she didn't want her husband to know. You know how girls are. "Please, call me." Girls? You let another woman book a hotel room under your name. For 2 people? Right. And then it hit me. She wasn't even trying to make it believable. She just needed anything to stall me from walking away completely. But I was already gone. You want to know something wild? After 7 years together, I realized something in just one night away. I was breathing easier, like I had been drowning for years and didn't even notice until I came up for air. Her perfume wasn't in the air. Her fake smile wasn't across the room. Her lies weren't circling me like smoke. That morning, I went back to the house. Not to talk, not to argue, but to see. I walked in, and she was in the kitchen, sitting in the same spot she stood when she told me to leave. But now, she looked small, pale, lost. She stood up fast when she saw me. "Thank God," she whispered. "We need to talk." I raised my hand. "No, I came for my guitar. And a few other things." Her face cracked. "You're not even going to talk to me?" "Jessica," I said calmly. "You already talked, loud and clear. You said the door was there. I listened." She stepped closer. "I made a mistake, okay?" "No," I said, picking up my case. "You made a choice." She didn't cry. She didn't apologize. She just stared, like she couldn't believe the one guy who always forgave her finally didn't. And that silence? That was better than any apology she could have faked. I never wanted to meet him. Hell, I didn't even want to know his name. But once Jessica started scrambling, trying to spin her story in 100 directions, I realized something. She wasn't just lying to me. She was lying to him, too. Started 2 days after I left. I was living out of a suitcase, sleeping on Aaron's couch, and trying to figure out what the hell to do with my life. I had no plan. Just a broken marriage and a head full of questions I didn't want answers to. That's when I got the DM. Instagram. A name I didn't recognize. Tyler Benson. Message request. "Hey, sorry to message you like this, man. I think we need to talk about Jessica." My stomach twisted. I clicked on his profile. Gym selfies. Expensive shoes. Flashy car. Exactly the type Jessica used to roll her eyes at. The type she now apparently rolled into bed with. I didn't respond right away. I just sat there staring at his message like it was radioactive. He messaged again the next day. "Look, I didn't know she was married. She told me you guys were separated. I swear I wouldn't have." There it was. The classic move. Jessica had rewritten history, erased me from the picture, and sold him some story about being technically separated. I finally replied. Short, cold. "We weren't separated. We were married. Living together. Until last week." He responded almost instantly. "Jesus. She said you were toxic, controlling, that you cheated on her, that she was scared of you." That hit hard. Not because I believed it, but because I knew exactly how she weaponized sympathy. Jessica was good at playing victim. Real good. She could cry on command and make it sound like truth. She painted me as the villain while she was out booking hotel rooms under fake excuses. Tyler asked if we could meet in person. I said no. I didn't need to get in a room with the guy who'd been in bed with my wife, no matter how innocent he claimed to be. But I did need answers. So I asked him one thing. "How long were you seeing her?" His answer. "Almost 4 months. 4 months. While I was planning a trip for our anniversary. While I was folding her laundry, fixing the kitchen sink, covering her car insurance. She was playing house with some guy who thought I didn't exist." I wanted to be angry at him, and for a moment I was. But the truth was, she used him just like she used me. A liar doesn't care who gets burned, as long as they get what they want. And Jessica? She wanted everything. The stability of a husband, the thrill of a side fling, the image of a perfect life to post on social media, and the freedom to do whatever the hell she wanted behind closed doors. She thought she could balance it all. But now the mask was slipping. Fast. Tyler told me one last thing before we ended the conversation. She said she was done with me last week. Cold. Like she flipped a switch. I think she's trying to get you back now. I shook my head. Too late. She already showed me who she really was. And I wasn't going to forget it started with a voicemail. Her voice was soft, controlled, like she had practiced the words a dozen times before hitting record. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. I don't even recognize myself right now. Can we just talk? Please. Talk? She had every chance in the world to talk. Back when I asked her if something was wrong. Back when I noticed her pulling away. Back when I caught her smile a little too long at other guys. But back then, all she had for me was cold stares and cheap sarcasm. Now suddenly, she was Mother Teresa with a guilty conscience? No thanks. The next day, she sent flowers to Aaron's apartment. White lilies, my favorite, with a card that said, "Still yours if you want me. I never stopped loving you. Jay." I nearly tossed them in the trash, but Aaron stopped me. "Don't waste it," he said. "Let her spend the money. Let her try." So I left them on the counter, unopened. Just a reminder. She was trying to buy her way back into something she killed herself. Then came the texts. First, the sweet ones. "I miss waking up next to you. I can't eat, can't sleep. I'm losing my mind. You're my person. Please don't give up on us." Then the guilt trips. "You're really going to walk away? Just like that? I made a mistake. One mistake. And you won't even talk to me?" And then, when that didn't work, came the rage. "You think you're so perfect? You think I was the only one who made mistakes in this marriage?" Classic Jessica. When apologies didn't work, she went straight for the throat. But I didn't bite. I let her spin. Let her drown in her own noise. Because here's what I realized. She wasn't sorry. She was scared. Not scared of losing me. Scared of losing her grip. She was used to being in control. Used to me chasing. Apologizing. Used to being forgiven because I hated conflict and wanted to fix everything. But this time, I wasn't interested in fixing a damn thing. And then, she showed up. I came home late from work. I'd started crashing at a cheap studio rental. And there she was, sitting on the stairs outside, hair curled, makeup done just enough to look like she wasn't trying too hard. She stood when she saw me, tears already brimming. "Please, just 5 minutes," she said. I stood there, keys in hand, heart pounding. Not from love, from disgust. From the fact that she could still look at me like I was the problem. She stepped closer. "I lost my mind. You were always there and I got stupid. Lonely. I thought you didn't want me anymore." "Jessica," I said steady. "You didn't cheat because you were lonely. You cheated because you could." That shut her up. Her face twisted, like she wasn't expecting that. She thought if she cried hard enough, I'd soften. She thought I missed her. I didn't. I missed who I thought she was. But that woman, she died the second she said, "The door's right there." I walked past her, unlocked the door. She stood frozen on the steps. "Don't do this," she whispered. I turned, looked her dead in the eyes. "I already did. I used to think we were solid. Jessica and I weren't the fairy tale couple, but we were steady. We had inside jokes, lazy Sundays, drunken arguments that ended in messy, passionate makeups. We had a rhythm. Or maybe I just thought we did. Looking back now, I wonder if I ever really knew her. Or if I just fell in love with the version she showed me, the highlight reel. We met at a bar on a rainy Friday. She walked in wearing this red coat, laughing at something her friends said, and I swear, everything else went blurry. She had this presence, loud, fearless, magnetic. And when she looked at me, it felt like I was the only person in the room. But the red flags were there. I just didn't want to see them. She hated being bored. Always needed excitement. Spontaneous road trips at midnight. Quitting jobs because she felt boxed in. Disappearing for hours when she needed to clear her head. At first, I thought it was charming. She was wild and I liked the chase. I didn't realize I was signing up to be her emotional babysitter for the next 7 years. We got married fast. Too fast, maybe. 1 year in, we already had cracks. She got restless. I got tired. She wanted fireworks every night. I just wanted stability. But we made it work. We built a life. Mortgage. 2 cars. Dinner parties with friends. From the outside, we looked golden. But inside, we were running on fumes. I remember one night, maybe a year before all this, we were watching a movie on the couch. Something simple. I turned to say something, just a dumb joke about the actor, and I caught her staring at her phone, smiling at a text. She didn't notice I was looking, didn't even flinch, and for some reason my stomach dropped. I didn't say anything, didn't want to be that guy, the jealous husband, the insecure one, but something changed that night. I stopped trying, and I think she noticed. I started working later. She started dressing up more. We'd kiss out of habit, not desire. Our marriage turned into a house with no heat, still standing but cold as hell inside. So when I found the hotel receipt, when I found him, it wasn't a total shock. It just confirmed what I already knew. She didn't love me anymore. Maybe she hadn't in a long time. Maybe she never really did. Maybe she just loved being loved. Jessica craved attention like oxygen. When I stopped giving it the way she liked, she went looking for it somewhere else. And me? I stayed. I stayed because I thought that's what men were supposed to do. Be steady. Provide. Forgive. Take the hits and come home smiling. But you can only take so many hits before something inside you stops standing back up. Now, sitting in this empty studio apartment, with a mattress on the floor and takeout boxes on the counter, I feel more peace than I've felt in years. There's no perfume in the air. No fake apologies. No lies curled up in the sheets beside me. Just me, breathing, healing, and realizing that maybe the marriage didn't fall apart last week. Maybe it died a long time ago. We just didn't bury it until now. The envelope sat heavy in my hands. Not because it was thick, it wasn't. Just a few sheets of paper inside. But it felt like the weight of 7 years folded up and pressed between 2 thin pages. Divorce. I'd printed the forms out that morning, took the day off, and sat for 3 hours staring at my name beside hers at the top. Petitioner Michael R. Grant. Respondent Jessica M. Grant. I half expected to feel numb, but I wasn't. I was sharp, awake, like I'd finally stepped out of a fog that had been dragging me under for years. I had to see her one last time, not to argue, not to fight, just to hand her the papers and end this like a man. She answered the door in full performance mode. Hair curled, perfect mascara, even wore the dress I once told her was my favorite. The same dress she wore on our 5th anniversary. That night we danced under string lights and promised to be better. Fake smiles, fake promises. Hey, she said softly, like we were still us. I was just about to text you. I handed her the envelope. She took it, hesitated. Her eyes flicked down, and when she realized what it was, her whole expression dropped. You're really doing this? She asked. I already did it, I said. This is just the paperwork. She stepped back, like the words hit her in the stomach. She opened the envelope slowly, like she was hoping it was something else. Like maybe it was love letters or some kind of peace offering. But Jessica didn't do peace. She did control. And once she realized she was losing it, she snapped. Her voice went cold, flat. So you're just gonna throw it all away? One mistake and you burn it all down. One mistake, I repeated, laughing bitterly. You lied. You cheated. You gaslit me for months. Don't shrink it into a single moment just because you got caught. She crossed her arms. Tyler didn't mean anything. You gave him 4 months of your life. That's not nothing. That's not a one-time lapse. She sneered. You act like you were perfect. You were boring, Michael. Predictable. You stopped seeing me. I felt invisible. I stepped forward, calm but clear. You felt invisible because you were too busy being the star of your own fantasy. You wanted a husband, a side piece, and an escape plan all in one. That's not love. That's narcissism. And that was it. She dropped the performance. The tears stopped. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You'll come crawling back. You're not strong enough to be alone." That was her final card. The one she always kept in her back pocket. The belief that I needed her. And for years she was right. But not anymore. I nodded. "We'll see." Then I turned around and walked out. Didn't slam the door. Didn't look back. That night, she started posting pictures on social media again. Selfies, inspirational quotes, pretending to be healing. One of the captions said, "Sometimes people leave because they're afraid of your fire. Keep shining." My phone buzzed with friends tagging me in it, asking what happened. But I didn't respond. Let her tell whatever story she wants. Because I wasn't fighting for my name anymore. I was finally building a new one. Without her. It's funny how quiet the world gets after you walk away from someone like Jessica. Not the kind of quiet that brings peace right away. No, at first it's uncomfortable. Loud in its own way. The first night in my new place. A small studio with a view of the street and a mattress on the floor. I heard everything. The hum of the fridge. The creak in the old radiator. The guy in the next unit coughing through the wall. For 7 years, I'd fallen asleep next to the sound of her breathing. Even if we were in a bad place. She was there. Now I had nothing but space and silence. And strangely, I didn't hate it. The first week was brutal. I kept checking my phone out of habit, expecting her name to light up the screen. Even though I knew better. Even though I filed the papers myself. That's the thing about toxic love. It doesn't leave cleanly. It stays in your blood for a while like a hangover. The kind you have to sweat out. I deleted her number. Blocked her on socials. Didn't tell her family. Didn't announce it to anyone. I just disappeared from her world. That silence? It started to feel like power. People talk about healing like it's some peaceful Zen process. It's not. It's messy. Some nights I hated myself for staying so long. Others, I hated her for turning me into someone I didn't even recognize by the end. But then I started doing little things. Things that felt like mine. I got back into running. Downloaded that guitar app one kept ignoring. Started waking up early again, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. And for the first time in years, I could eat what I wanted, watch what I liked, leave dishes in the sink without anyone throwing a guilt trip about it. The freedom wasn't loud. It didn't come with fireworks or big epiphanies. Came in waves. Small, quiet victories. The first time I laughed out loud alone. Really laughed, not just smiled. It felt strange. Then it felt good. Like something inside me was finally loosening up. I reconnected with old friends. Turns out they'd been waiting. Most of them didn't like Jessica much, but they never said anything. They were just happy I was out. "Dude, you're different now," Aaron told me one night over drinks. Like, lighter. And he was right. I had spent so long carrying her chaos. I didn't even realize how heavy it was until it was gone. Was I still angry? Sure. You don't just shut that off. But it was fading. Turning into something else. Not forgiveness, not yet, but something close to indifference. And in many ways, that's more powerful. Because anger keeps you chained. Indifference sets you free. One night, I got a text from an unknown number. I knew it was her. She didn't say much. Just, "I saw your photo. You look happy. I guess you won." I didn't reply. Not because I was bitter. Because I didn't need to. Her words said it all. She finally understood. I didn't leave to win. I left to survive. There's a version of me that used to live for her attention. A man who bent backwards, smiled through the hurt, convinced himself that love meant endurance. No matter the cost. That man? He's gone. And I don't mourn him. Because now, when I look in the mirror, I don't just see someone who survived betrayal. I see someone who stopped settling. See, people think cheating is the deepest cut. But it's not. The real damage happens before the affair. It's in the gaslighting, the emotional distance, the silent punishments, the way they make you feel like you're not enough and somehow too much at the same time. Jessica made me doubt everything. My worth, my instincts, even my memory. There were nights she'd rewrite reality in front of me. Say something cruel, then claim she never said it. Laugh with someone else, then call me insecure for noticing. And I took it, because I loved her, because I believed in us. But now I know love shouldn't require you to abandon yourself. I don't hate her. Not anymore. Jessica was a mirror I didn't want to look into. She showed me the parts of myself that were weak. The man who feared loneliness more than disrespect. The man who confused chaos with passion. The man who thought staying made him strong. But leaving, that made me real. It's been almost a year since I walked out of that house. I moved into a better place. Started a side business. Started therapy. Something I used to roll my eyes at. But now, game changer. I even started dating again. Nothing serious. Just meeting people. Not searching, just living. And for once, I'm not trying to impress anyone. Not bending myself into a version someone else will love. Just me. No mask. No performance. Sometimes people ask if I'd ever take her back. If she ever changed. The answer's simple. I've changed. And that's what makes the difference. I wouldn't survive another version of that relationship. I wouldn't allow it. Because now I recognize the red flags early. I speak up when something feels wrong. I leave when I'm not being respected. Not because I'm bitter, but because I've seen what it costs to stay silent. If I could say one thing to the guy I used to be, that man sitting in the kitchen while his wife laughed at another man's jokes, I'd say, you're not crazy. You're not weak. And you don't need to earn love that's already yours by right. I thought leaving would break me. Turns out it made me whole. So to anyone reading this, sitting on the edge of a decision you're scared to make, wondering if walking away is weakness, let me be the voice you need. It's not weakness. It's clarity. It's strength. It's peace. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk out the door someone pointed you toward and never look back. Because freedom, it doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it comes in silence. But damn, it tastes good.